Tess, rumor has it you've made vacation envy a real thing here in Whitefish.
Guilty as charged. At Outside Metro, we've got everything from cozy downtown lofts to Lakeview retreats, even barns with pickleball courts. And with over 500 five-star reviews, you really can't go wrong.
What? Okay, I'm already packing my bags.
Just make sure you book direct, Julie, and save on those booking fees at outsidemetro.com. That's where the good stuff happens.
Done. Outside Metro, and stay where the locals play. The IWD406 Podcast, where Montana women are heard, celebrated, and supported. Today we have Alex Stokman, founder of Venery, a Montana-based outdoor education company that is changing the landscape for women in hunting and conservation. Alex has created more than a company. She's built a community. Through hands-on learning, mentorship, and real field experience, she's empowering women to step confidently into spaces that have traditionally been male-dominated, not just to participate, but to lead. I love that. I love that. What I admire about Alex is that this work goes beyond skill building. It's about confidence. It's about stewardship. It's about understanding public lands, ethical wildlife management, and our responsibility to preserve what makes Montana. She's reshaping what leadership in the outdoors looks like across the 406. And I am honored to bring her story to the IWD406 platform. Without further ado, Alex, how are you?
Hi, Julie. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited and just really honored that for those that are listening, Alex had to trek in the middle of the winter up to Whitefish, and we had a bout of nice clear skies, a little bit of a glimpse into spring, and then all of a sudden we get dumped on.
Yeah, this winter has been so
Crazy.
mild, but all of a sudden when I need to make a road trip, here I am white knuckling it all the way to Whitefish.
It's not on the best roads all the way coming up from Missoula.
No.
But I'm so honored that you were willing to make the trip. So thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We're going to get into your story. We're going to start off with, I want to know, I usually ask everybody this. Are you a generational Montanan?
I am not. My kids are.
Born here.
Born here.
Okay.
So we're starting that off. They're
I love
first
that.
generation Montanans.
I love that.
But nope, transplanted here. I started my life out in Ohio, moved to Florida, and I've traveled around a lot, but my husband and I finally settled in Missoula about 20 years ago.
I love it. And 20 years. So you know what? Let's just call it. I think after a certain time frame, you can say you're a true Montanan. What is that? What do you think that time frame is?
It isn't.
I know.
For local Montanans, for those third, fourth, fifth generation Montanans, I will never be.
That's true.
And so when I'm outside of Montana and somebody says, "Where are you from?"
Yeah.
I say Montana.
Yes.
But when I'm in Montana, I have to say, I moved here 20 years ago.
I know. What is that? I think I want to say I'm going to start campaigning for a certain time frame where we can actually call ourselves Montanans. But I love that you've been here for this long and developed such a beautiful community. But let's back up a little bit and let's start with your upbringing in Ohio.
Yep.
So you grew up in Ohio in what part?
Up near the lakes, Lake Erie.
Okay.
So a little town called Elyria.
Oh.
And yeah, I was just there for the start of my grade school years. And
then did you leave at around 10 years old?
Yeah, so that's fifth grade.
Okay.
My parents decided to escape winter.
Yeah.
And we headed to Florida.
Oh, I don't blame them.
Established ourselves in Florida.
Okay, so at 10, and that's a tough transition because you're in fifth grade, you're getting your friends. It sounds like it was a small town. Was it a small town?
Yeah, a small community.
Okay, small community. So you got your little core group of friends, all the parents hang out, they know each other kind of thing. And then in fifth grade, you moved to Florida. And when you moved to Florida, what part of Florida did you move to?
Central Florida, so
Okay.
another small town called Brooksville, Florida.
Oh.
It's on the Gulf Coast.
Okay.
About, 35, 40 minutes from the Gulf.
Yeah.
So it was inland. I didn't go to a beach town.
Okay.
And it's very hilly and rural.
Oh, okay, got you.
So when you think of Florida, a lot of people think of palm trees and beaches. This was rolling hills, cow pastures, wild lands and
Yeah. So I want to ask you early on, were you coming from a hunting family?
I wasn't. No, not
No.
at all.
Okay. So when you moved to Florida, you guys moved to a small rural community, and what did you guys do there?
So my dad he was in the trucking business in Ohio, and he transitioned always as an entrepreneur himself, self-owned businessman.
Yeah.
We bought a campground in Florida.
Whoa.
And total change. My dad, it changed my family dynamics.
Yeah.
My dad became the stay-at-home dad because we lived, operated, and owned the campground. And my mom went back to work after 10 years of being a stay-at-home mom. And she went back into teaching.
She went back into teaching. Your dad, so you were with your dad besides school.
Sure.
You're with him on the campground. So there's a lot of visitors coming in. There's a lot of upkeep. What are some of the things you learned about just being, and especially since that transition period, what did you learn about yourself, and what kind of things did you gain from that experience?
Since my family only had girls, my dad relied on us to do the work and taught us the skills, taught us the lawnmower, taught us how to fix things. And I was very much a fan of my dad. I loved working with him. I loved learning all the tools, what they did, how to use them, and being capable.
Yes.
So really inspiring and supporting that you are a capable person. This is just a skill to learn.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That could definitely tie in for later in our conversation, for
It sure does.
It sure does. But I love to hear what people experienced when they were kids and some key influencers. But your mom was a teacher, so she was also influencer, because with what you do today, you do a lot of education.
Definitely.
So she was a teacher for what grades?
She was an elementary school teacher, mainly second and third grade.
Okay.
And yeah, she just really embraced not only book learning, but experiential hands-on learning. So she would always do these crafts and projects and bringing in some of her skills. She was a great seamstress, and I thought she was an amazing cook.
Yeah,
she would bring in those experiments, if you will, to really accentuate the learning.
Yeah, the hands-on piece. Love that. So then, so you're growing up on a campground, your mom is teaching, your dad is showing you the ropes of running something like that, which is pretty epic, and then transitioning into high school. So talk to me a little bit about what were you like in high school, and then what did you want to do beyond high school?
What was I like in high school?
Oh, I love this.
I was very much involved in sports and band. So just involved in the school activities and really finding my way, finding myself, some inner strength. But of course, school sports was girl sports. And so you're surrounded by girls, and that can be challenging, but it's also friend building at the same time.
Yeah.
But I also learned that Florida wasn't the place for me, and I wanted to branch out and spread my wings. So coming from a small town, it definitely, everyone was going to the same place. And that transition from high school to college, it's like I didn't want a continuation of that.
Right.
I just wanted to continue to explore.
I love that. That's wonderful. So then where did you end up going?
So I went to college in Massachusetts.
What?
Yeah.
So why? Okay, hold on. So you're in Florida. Most people probably, did they end up going to like Florida State University or places like that? And then you were like, see ya, I am leaving, and I am going to go further east or further up, further north or northeast. Why Massachusetts? And also number two, what was that like leaving?
Yeah. Some of it was I wanted to get as far away from as possible.
Yeah.
The other was having transitioned from Ohio to Florida, I missed the seasons.
Oh, you did? Okay, gotcha.
And so there was this yearning for more seasonal diversity. But mostly, and this is going to sound odd, to leave Florida and want to study marine biology, that I moved to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And the primary reason was I went to the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, but they had an affiliation with the Woods Hole Marine Biology Institute.
Oh, interesting.
And so I thought, okay, this is a great opportunity to see something different. I had been exploring in Florida. I had gotten my scuba diving certification in Florida. I had been involved in things, but I wanted to see something different.
Yeah. And so I want people to know a little bit about, I love this. We had talked before about your leaving home story. And I just think it's important because it's an opportunity for people to really understand that sometimes it's scary, but it's also good to rip the Band-Aid off. Can you tell that story?
Yeah. So
I love it.
It is a little bit about discomfort.
Yeah.
And it's different than what happens with our teenagers today. You and I have college students.
Right.
And parents today take their college student and drive them to the college and settle them into the dorms and set them up. That was not my experience. I got for my high school graduation present, I got a set of luggage. And it was the large suitcase and the garment bag.
Oh, yeah.
Packed all of my things in 2 bags.
Uh-huh.
My parents
Can you believe that?
took me to the airport,
Yeah.
gave me a big hug, and said goodbye.
Oh my gosh.
I flew in and
Can we just pause and reflect on that moment in itself? Like just that moment had to have been a mixed motion of were you scared or were you like were you excited? Were you like, I got this. I'm doing it.
I guess thinking back, I was more excited.
Yeah.
I was like, this is
Okay.
the beginning.
Yeah.
I get to go.
Yeah.
I get to go and do my thing. And then I also, now reflecting as a mom, I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
did that to my mom.
I think back on things and I'm like, oh my gosh, and from a different vantage point now. Yeah, it's so crazy. But it's wonderful that you did it. And then okay, talk to me from that. Then you started your education.
Yep.
And so how was going to college there? What was that like for you?
It was big.
It was big.
So I went from being in a small town.
Yeah.
You go from being a maybe big fish in a small pond
Right.
to a little fish in a very big pond.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I started looking for some connections.
Yeah.
And one of the things in high school was band. And what I didn't know transferring into the University of Massachusetts was what the kind of the routines and things happening on
Yeah.
college campuses.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I immediately sought out the band and was able to become a part of it. And
Oh.
so I was part of the marching band.
Oh, cool.
And those became my friends, and those became that became my network.
Yeah.
As well as your dorm mates and things like that.
And then you were studying marine biology.
I was studying when I applied to the School of Zoology
Okay.
at the university, and it changed. The landscape of the university changed. So originally they had a zoology department and a biology department.
Okay. Yeah.
Botany department, and they married. And
Okay.
so then it became biology.
Oh, okay. Got you.
So I studied biology.
What were you thinking you wanted to do?
I wanted to be Jacques Cousteau.
That would be freaking cool.
Right?
So you wanted to do because you already had your diving certification.
Yep.
So you wanted to go and study anything underneath the sea. Deep water exploration? You
Anything
think?
under the water.
Really?
It was just fascinating to me, the ecosystem that
Yeah.
we don't see.
No.
Because we're surface dwellers.
Yeah.
And the systems underneath the sea, there's small systems and then there's large systems, and how all of that works together
Okay.
so peacefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like to me also too. You would have been a really good doctor. Like to know all the systems and how everything works together inside the body. But it's so interesting. I would be fascinated by that. I loved watching all the docuseries on him and just amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And two, we still don't know anything.
Yes.
To this day, it's still unexplored. It's crazy the opportunities that people could be doing with that field.
Yeah.
Okay, you graduated from college with a degree, and you said biology and
Environmental science.
environmental science. And then what did you want to do, and what was your next steps after that?
I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I didn't know, and I also didn't. So I ended up not really focusing on marine biology
Yeah.
while I was there.
Yeah.
I got diverted
Uh-huh.
a little bit, and I ended up studying under a herpetologist.
What is a herpetologist?
So he studies reptiles and amphibians.
Oh, okay.
And so I worked in a lab. I also took advantage of school trips
okay.
and did a stint in the Bahamas.
Oh, cool.
And so I got to see different aspects of science at work.
Okay.
And I decided I don't really want to work in a lab. I don't want to write papers. So I was finding out more about what I didn't want to do
Yeah.
and still exploring what the possibilities were.
But I think that's so important because I'm just sharing what I experienced growing up. And I think this is a good reminder for people that are listening, especially their kids. I think when you're going through the process of life and trying to figure, to me, it's an evaluation of what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Don't you feel that way? For me, I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. Those are the things that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
But I don't think I tapped into that until later. Like, oh, I'm just doing things because I think that's what I want to do. But then I'm like, maybe I'll force myself into liking it. But then at the end, I'm like, I don't really like doing that. It's not lighting me up. But that's good that you figured those pieces out early on. And then, okay, so you're stint in the Bahamas, and then did you travel anywhere else?
During college, it all wrapped up.
It all wrapped up?
Went back home to Florida.
Okay.
And then because of an introduction in college, I learned about being an au pair in Germany.
Oh.
So I headed to Germany after college.
Okay.
Not knowing what to do, I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this.
Yes. Because did you just take a little bit of a pause? I need to do some self-reflection. I need to pivot a bit because that's a big pivot. Or what was it? Just something that came along and you're like, I'm curious. I'm going to go to Germany. I'm going to watch I'm going to nanny for children. What was that period like?
One of the things that my family did for my sister and I was gave us a gift of travel.
Oh.
So our college graduation was a gift to go overseas and travel and get the Eurail pass and backpack around Europe.
Yeah.
And that was part of it. There's always been this wanderlust.
Yeah,
and this
I can see that.
desire to travel and see things and experience life.
Yeah.
And so I traveled first and then came back home. And because of a college connection and because of this experience, had already been to Europe, had already seen things. I then went back to be a nanny for a family.
Okay, gotcha.
In Germany.
Okay, and what was that like for you?
It was challenging.
Yeah.
And not on the language. I had studied German in college, so language wasn't the barrier. I was the youngest in my family, and I hadn't actually not been in charge of kids before, but navigating.
Yeah.
Like a role that I was an adult, but I was also under the care of the parents.
Right.
But I was taking care of their children and navigating. Is it my role to make dinner? Is it someone else's?
Interesting.
Do I pick them up from school? Like I wasn't a mom, but I wasn't a big sister either.
I can see that. That's interesting. But if you would have been the oldest in the family, maybe it would have been different.
Maybe.
Yeah. Interesting. So when you didn't love it, clearly, it wasn't like your favorite thing to do. But what did you gain from that experience?
Certainly friendships. So I had met other women that were also au pairs in this small town. And we would go and explore. We would have adventures. We would cook meals together. And so just finding some community far away from home.
Yeah. That's really, that, again, ties.
Yes.
Ties into everything. And you seem to have an explorative way about you. You like it. Do you love to travel? Do you do all the traveling still, even despite having kids? And
we tend to travel with sports now.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So with the ages of my kids, they're 19, 17, and 14,
Right.
and a lot of sports.
Okay,
So
got you.
Our explorative travel is a little limited, but we always try to tie that in.
Yeah.
Okay, what national park is near here?
Yes.
Or what hiking adventure can we take
Right.
while we're
Yeah.
there for sports?
But going back to Germany, what an amazing experience to be able to be over there, obviously learning what it is that lights you up and, what you want to do, but also to meet. Are you still friends with the women that you know or knew?
I'm still good friends with one of the women from there.
Okay.
And she actually ties into the story of me. I left Germany, went back to Florida, home base, and then decided to leave again.
Okay. I got to ask you, Alex, and now from the parent perspective, right?
Sure.
Were your parents like, where's Alex going again? Where in the world is Alex? Was it like that?
I don't know.
Or were they like, we want you to spread your wings as far as you possibly can, travel to this other side of the globe and just figure it out. Go and see and do and figure it out.
I think my mom was more like that, pushing me out of the nest.
Yeah.
And go explore, go enjoy, spread your wings. And my dad was like always there for a warm hug to welcome me home.
I love that.
Like, you're welcome to stay as long as you want.
Okay.
You always have a place here.
Yeah.
And I think that supportive family
yes.
space
Yeah.
made it possible
Yes.
for me to go.
Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful and so important. What a great support system. I love that. So now, okay, we come back. Tell the story about who you met. You're the woman that you know, and coming back to the States. And then what did you decide to do next? You left again. Where did you go?
Yeah. So I came back to Florida and I experimented a little bit in Florida and was like, okay, I have my degree. I need to get a job now. I've gone and done all these things. So I stayed in Florida for a while and volunteered with the Game and Fish Department.
Yes.
And this is a first introduction for me into that hunting space.
Yep.
I had my degree in biology, like we've said.
Okay.
And I kept looking for jobs and discovering a bachelor's degree isn't going to get it done.
Okay.
In the science field. And people are looking for experience. They're looking for education, master's degrees, things like that. And that's not what I had. I had life experience. There was a state agency that I really wanted to work for. And I kept applying. And they had a system where you could look at who else applied. So after the fact, after the interviews, after it was all said and done, it was public record.
Okay.
Who applied. So I was looking at my competition and seeing like what was missing from my resume. What could I have done differently? And it's one of those things where we used to be taught to go and do informational interviews, maybe even after the fact.
Right.
And so I was doing that in my own way. I couldn't get another sit down with the interviewer, things like that. So I was looking at these applications and seeing time and time again, everyone had a master's degree.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's not me. The application said,
did you feel when you're looking at, because you're looking at what you don't have, did you feel inclined like, oh, I got to go do that? But deeply, you didn't want to do that, right?
I didn't want to get a master's degree.
Okay. But did you oftentimes question whether or not you should?
Definitely.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay. But continue. Sorry.
So then I thought, okay, I'll just build my skills. Okay. Because it said, or commensurate skills and abilities. I'm like, great. I know how to do skills and abilities.
Yes.
And so then I started, and I think it was also networking, right? And so getting in, showing that I am a go-getter, showing my work ethic, showing my concepts around biology, right? So it's just book knowledge at some point, but then you have to put it into action. And so I volunteered with the Game and Fish Department. One of the first assignments I got was at the hunter check station.
Fascinating. What was that like?
I was a little intimidating.
Yeah.
Definitely intimidating.
Because you have no hunting background.
Had no hunting
You
background.
put yourself in situations where I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn this. Yeah. Cool.
My mom would always say, you can ask the questions, and the worst you're going to get is no.
Yeah.
And the best you're going to get is an opportunity or an experience.
Right.
So I said, sure, put me at the check station. I'll learn that.
Yeah.
And in Florida at this check station, one of the things that we did, and contrary to what we do in Montana, is the animals were brought unfield dressed. So full animals.
Yeah.
To the check station to do necropsies. And so what that means is field dressing at the check station, and we're looking at the health of the animals. We're looking at the guts.
Yeah.
We're looking at the heart, the liver, the kidneys.
Can I ask you, so they would bring the full animal, because when you hunt and you kill, you usually are pulling all that out, right?
Yeah.
At the drop site. So are they bringing it whole to you?
Yes.
So you're having to basically field dress it?
Yes.
Okay, wow.
So
that's a really interesting job.
It's a deep dive, right?
Yeah.
Right into the deep end of field dressing animals. So animals that I never harvested, I never shot.
Right.
And these hunters would bring they were requested. That was part of this wildlife management area. If you harvest an animal here, you need to bring it to the check station. We're doing these checks. And so I learned how to field dress animals well before I even started hunting.
Wow.
Which is usually where people are hesitant.
Yeah,
They're
totally.
like, oh, I can shoot a gun, but I don't know what to do afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah, yes, and we're going to get into the whole process of hunting.
Yes.
But yeah, that's interesting because did a lot of these hunters, did they come to you and they didn't know how to field dress, or pretty much majority of, I'm assuming many of them already knew how to field dress.
I would presume
but
they
this is
did.
part of the game, the process of health management and everything. I got to ask you this. So this is a little side question, but being in that position, being younger, not really having a hunting background, and now you're learning how to dissect essentially. How was that being received by the hunters? Were they watching you do this?
Oh, definitely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so how was...
I mean,
how
a young 20-something
Yes.
girl at a backwoods check station.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I wasn't ever alone, which was good.
Okay.
And they were like, yeah, because the hunters that were there were older male hunters.
Yeah.
And it was uncommon to see a woman.
Yeah.
And even though there was a woman in the biology unit, her role for that time was doing more outreach and education, and she did other things.
Uh-huh.
But the people at the check station were mainly men.
Yeah.
And men hunters coming through. I did not see anyone that looked like me.
Did they assume you were maybe a scientist, or did they assume things about you? And then, but overall, was it a good experience? And were there moments where you're like, had to like step up for yourself? Were there any of those kind of things that happened?
It's definitely not light work
Yeah.
because you are putting a deer on a gambrel, you're pulling it up. They're like, "Here, honey, let me help you."
Yeah.
I'm like,
You-
I got
this. Back off, I got this. Yeah.
And so that was it. And then they would joke about, "I've never had a woman gut a deer for me."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I said, "Give me a payment. I'll take your backstrap." And then they would be like, "No."
Yeah. Oh, of course not. They don't want it. That's what they went out for. Yes.
Right, exactly.
So-
And then learning that language and that banter. And then there were microaggressions. Like,
Of course,
looking
yeah.
back on it, I didn't know that at the time, but I
Yeah.
was like, I'm just learning how to interact with this new population.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting too. I bet you learned a ton from that experience.
Oh, definitely.
A volunteer experience like that. That's pretty
It's hands-on,
hands-on,
elbows deep.
deep into blood and guts. And then so then you basically pull the samples out and then they send them off to the lab. That's how they did it. So because I'm interested in this. So when you're opening up, can you see evidence of things that possibly be questionable?
Yes.
Oh, you did. And
So-
how did you learn that? Did you get that education in advance?
Not necessarily, no. So
Okay.
through the basically internship,
Yeah.
the other biologist was there and we are like, okay, so let's do it together.
Okay. So
Right,
they're
that hands-on
teaching you.
learning.
Yeah. The hands-on learning. Fascinating. Okay. From there, how long did you do that for?
A few seasons.
Oh, few seasons.
Yeah.
And was it primarily bucks, or what type of
Yep, whitetail deer.
whitetail deer? Okay. Yeah, not bucks. I always say bucks, but whitetail deer. Any other types of animals, or is that specifically where you were focusing?
Specifically focused on whitetail deer.
Did that make you get more curious to go back and get an advanced degree, or were you like, no, I got the hands-on experience. I'm ready to work in this type of field. What did you do after that?
So I ended up with, I don't even know what order it is anymore, a few different positions. I ended up at an engineering firm and working as an environmental consultant.
Okay.
And we would do site visits looking at the properties before they were developed. And we were looking for species of special concern, species that would prohibit the development. We were looking at the trees there. So Florida had a lot of regulations around development. And so looking at those pieces.
So you're still doing a lot of analysis type work, which is pretty cool. And then being able to be outside, and then, okay, so that's what you did into your 20s, into your 30s, essentially?
Through my 20s.
So your 20s. Okay. And you're in Florida. Then how did you get out of Florida? How did you get up to Montana?
Sure.
Okay.
So the first stop was Minnesota.
Okay.
And this ties back to Germany. So
Yes.
that nanny friend back in Germany was getting married. And I took the advantage of, okay, I'm going to go. The thought was around going back to school, I'm going to go see my friend in Minnesota. She's getting married. And I packed all my stuff. I headed out on the road and went to my friend's wedding in Minnesota. And my actual intent was to come out to Montana and get established as a resident and go to grad school.
Oh,
I finally made that decision.
okay.
Got delayed in Minnesota. So met a guy.
Of course. that happens. Derails you a little
Yes.
bit. Yes.
Yeah.
I get it.
Met a guy and stayed in Minnesota for a while and did make it out to Montana for a bit, but came back.
Can I ask you, in Minnesota, you can hunt up in Minnesota. They've got some good whitetail deer coming up through that way. Yeah, some other types of bigger, not big game, but medium-sized game. So did you hunt then? No, you just hung out in Minnesota for a bit.
I hung out in Minnesota for a bit.
But your end game was to get to Montana.
It was.
Okay. When did you decide you wanted? Was it like when you were working in Florida? Were you like, I want to go up there? And why did you want to be in Montana?
The University of Montana.
Okay, got you.
Wildlife biology.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go to Minnesota and then you meet a guy, and then do you guys then move to Montana together?
Nope.
No. Okay.
He and his family owned a farm.
Okay.
In just across the border into Wisconsin.
Okay.
And so we spent a lot of time on the farm. And so it was yet another opportunity to see animal systems, farm systems, appreciation for the land, and that farming piece.
Yeah.
I think it really tugs at my heart, the ranching and farming community.
Yeah.
And the connection between that and hunting and animals, just putting a lot more pieces together.
Right.
And being exposed to that and being there for the birth of animals
Oh, yeah.
in the barn.
That's a great experience.
Collecting eggs and just
yeah.
that connection to food was so important.
So important. I love that. So talk to me then. So you had that wonderful experience, again, the systems of everything. I love it. I see patterns here. I love it. And then how did you get over to Montana? Do you guys end up moving to Montana or no?
So eventually I worked a retail job in Minnesota.
Okay.
And that gave me an opportunity to jump to Montana.
Oh, okay. Got you.
And,
Did you go to school then in Missoula?
Nope.
Didn't end up going to school? So
Nope.
you worked retail.
Yep.
And then, okay, so talk to me about, I love all this. So were you still with the same guy?
For a bit.
For a bit?
Yeah. Long distance relationship. He stayed in Minnesota.
Okay.
In the Twin Cities, and I left.
And then you left. And then you move here, which would be hard. I think it would be hard as a single woman moving to Montana and then trying to make your way here. It really is. Did you decide, were you joining women's groups? Is that when you learned how to hunt? When did you learn to hunt?
So it was back in Florida.
Oh, it was back in Florida.
Yeah, we'll have to back up a bit.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
After being at the check station
Yes.
and living there, having the engineering job, I had met a different guy.
Yeah, that's okay. I've done that too.
Yeah.
Plenty of them.
And he introduced me. So the first introduction, of
Yes.
course, was the check station. The second introduction. So when I look back on my years of how did I get into hunting, right? I think, the check station was my first.
Yeah.
The next was dating this guy, and he was an archery hunter.
Okay.
And so he introduced me to archery hunting because hunting's male dominated and there aren't many role models out there. So it never occurred to me at the check station that I too could be a hunter.
I was going to that's a good point because you had did you ever have a woman come through the check station?
Not that I recall.
So it was all women.
All men.
All men during several seasons. And then now you are with a person that is now into the hunting, exposed you to that. It seems like, Alex, you were like, you jumped into it with the field dressing.
Yes.
But didn't know how to get to that point.
Yeah.
So you meet him in Florida, and he primarily is a bow hunter, right?
Yes. Yep.
Doesn't do anything with rifle or shotgun. Very minimal.
Minimal.
Okay, but that is what you're for. And bow hunting, people listen. Bow hunting's hard.
It is.
It really is. You've got to practice. You got to have the strength. It's a real sport. And so, what did you walk us through like your first exposure of picking up a bow and talk to us about the whole when you learned to hunt.
Sure.
That
I
moment.
think archery is an interesting skill, like
It
you
is.
said.
Yeah.
And I had been exposed to a little bit of it at like summer camps because
Right.
there's archery at those things.
Yeah.
And so the concept wasn't unfamiliar. And so with this boyfriend, I acquired a bow from a friend. He was like, "Oh, somebody's got an old bow laying around here somewhere."
Yeah.
And so that became my bow. And I actually still have it to this day.
Really? Wow.
And so we started practicing and we started shooting in the backyard.
Yeah.
And so you're shooting at targets, you're building strength, building those repetitions.
Yeah.
Really important because you want those ethical shots. You want to be close to your animal.
Right.
And you want to not to let it suffer. You just want a really well-placed shot. So
Absolutely.
practice. And we did that. And one of the fun things, because in Florida you are tree stand hunting, which means you shimmy up a tree and you sit in a stand in the tree about 20, 25 feet off the ground. And Florida's ideal for this because of palm trees. There are no branches to get in the way.
Right.
And so you climb up the tree, you sit in the tree. And so you need to practice those angles. And so what we would do is we'd put a ladder and climb up on top of the roof and shoot from the roof
Whoa. Okay. Got you.
down to our targets.
Yeah.
So I remember just doing that and practicing and getting those angles and getting prepared. And then we headed up so he had been involved in the hunting community for a long time. We went up to deer camp together.
Okay.
And when I got to deer camp, I didn't really know what to expect. He had talked about it. And these people were there and we're going to hook up with them. And I was like, great, this sounds exciting. And we got there and I was really surprised that it was other couples. There were other women at camp. And it was like my first time being like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm not the only girl.
Yeah.
And
That's epic.
it was amazing.
That would be epic. And this was your first time hunting.
Yes. Yep.
That's a big moment. Were you nervous? I'm assuming you're just excited. You're like, I'm going to go out there. I've been practicing this long. I know how to use my equipment. I know what to look for. And then, so I want to just real quick, before we go into meeting the women, you actually went out and was it a tree stand? You shimmied at the tree stand. What was that like? Was there anything that passed your way? Was there a deer that passed your way? Talk to me a little bit about the feeling. It's such an adrenaline rush to watch somebody do this. So what was that first experience like for you?
So we walked into the woods and it's dark, right? You go in before
Before
it's
dusk.
light.
Yes.
Before it's light. So
You're doing early morning hunt.
early morning hunt.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Walk into the woods and it's pitch black.
Yeah.
And you're trying to find your way.
Uh-huh.
My hunting partner drops me off at my stand and then says, okay, I'm going to be over here. And so we're not hunting in the same place at the same time. I don't even know where he is.
Wow.
Right? He's in the woods somewhere. I'm in the woods somewhere. And
Why,
he's like,
why did you plan it that way? How come you guys didn't go together? Was there not enough room? Or are you just trying to spread out to see?
Spread out more animals,
Yep.
more opportunity to
Yep.
harvest.
Makes
And
sense.
So Eastern hunting, Florida and the eastern states, you set up your stand on well-traveled paths. Deer are traveling from their bedding grounds to their dining rooms,
Yeah.
to their feeding grounds, and you want to be on that path. You want to catch them coming and going. And so we were opportunistic. We had to take advantage of that. And so I was set up on one trail, he was set up on another, but I wasn't even sure where he was. And the technology that we had then isn't what we have now. I don't know. I think I could have yelled really loudly and maybe he would have heard me.
Yeah.
And so you sit there and you sit there and you sit there. And then what's amazing about it is the silence that settles down around you. And not just the silence, but then the world and nature starts waking up. And it's the sunlight. It's glistening on dewdrops, on spider webs. It's the squirrel incessantly chittering at you.
Yes.
And you're listening for those sounds in the woods that you don't normally hear.
Right.
And that feeling of being one with the woods was phenomenal.
Oh my gosh. I could listen to you talk about that. I was like seeing it in my mind and going, oh, that is epic. That's awesome. It feels so good. I get it.
Yeah.
And then that's wonderful because we don't often sit and really tune in. We're so tuned out. And you just explained it, Alex, so beautifully that it's a moment that people don't appreciate. There's people that are against hunting, but it's those kind of things. I love those stories. I love when people talk about the moment before and the reflection, and they're sitting there in just a meditative state and watching that one little animal play, and you get that moment, and it slows time down a little bit. It's really cool. I love that. I love what you just said. And then did you have any, because you're on high alert, so our spidey senses, we're listening to everything, we're hearing everything, and then you're anticipating something coming through. Did you hear anything coming through?
I did.
You did? Okay, tell us about that.
So the first time I heard something, I heard the lapping of water. And I was like, okay, that's something. That's a deer. I don't know. It could be. So there's other animals in the woods, and it could be that. And I did end up seeing some movement. So, right, my keyed in. And we're archery hunting, and so we're all in camouflage, and I have my bow, and I'm like, okay, so now's the time to knock an arrow, to pull up my inner. What you want to do is limit a lot of your movements. And so I'm slowly doing these things before I make eye contact with an animal. Who knows what it's going to be? It could be, we also have feral hogs in Florida, and so it could have been a hog, which I wasn't really prepared to take, but I was like, okay, here for deer. And so one of the things in my equipment I forgot about was we were in these mesh jackets with a face mask. And so mosquitoes are huge in Florida, and you want to avoid them. At all costs. And so these mesh jackets helped, right? They help keep mosquitoes off you and the incessant buzzing and all of that. So I heard the lapping of water. I'm watching for movement. And I knock an arrow, and I do end up seeing a deer, and I draw back. And I'm waiting and watching, and what's happening is I forgot to pull the veil from over my face.
Okay.
So I can't see anything. Like, you can see through the mesh.
Yeah.
When it's at a distance from your face, but when you smush it up
It-
against your face,
you can't see it.
see through it anymore.
Right.
And so I'm like, shoot, what do I do now? And so I didn't feel comfortable taking a shot. I didn't feel right. And those are the mistakes that you learn from and you make as a new hunter. And I also, even before that, and I hear women say this to me too, is I don't know if I could shoot an animal.
Yeah.
I don't know. And you don't know until you're faced with that, until you're in the moment. And after that moment of being like, I am drawn back, I'm watching this animal and waiting for a shot, but also struggling mightily with my equipment, I knew that I could have loosed the arrow.
Yeah.
And I could have shot the animal had I not had all that going on.
Yeah. But describing that, you don't know until you're in it, but you did have some technical problems, but the confidence of I could have done that and I would have taken it completely out, not wounded it or later, whatever. You have to do whatever you have to do. But yeah, that's so interesting. And I loved, and the way you tell the story in that moment, it brings me in. I love the storytelling. I think it's, and you're right. Some women are like, I don't know if I could take an animal, but you don't know until you did all the prep work and you have the confidence built up of, if I do take an animal, I'm taking an animal to where it's going to have minimal suffering. It's pretty quick. But on the back end, it's going to bring so much more. I can feed my people. I can feed my community and we'll get into all that, the ethical part of hunting.
Yeah.
I love that. And before we get there, I want you to talk about the story of coming back. So you didn't take the animal. It's starting to get light out. It's time to probably go back to camp.
Yep.
Talk to me about that moment when you saw your boyfriend and then you see the women. Were you quick to tell the story? What was that like? How did you connect with these women? And also, real quick, did your partner get one?
Eventually, yeah.
He did not at that moment.
No, not that morning.
Okay, not that morning.
Yeah, but over the course of the weekend.
Okay, got you. And then, coming back to camp, which this is like a big moment for you. You probably want to tell people what you experienced, right? So getting back to camp, Did you told him about it? Did you end up meeting these women and talking to them about what you experienced?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm new, right?
Yes.
And they're like a little hesitant. Who's this new girl?
Right.
And
I'm
so,
surprised they wouldn't have brought you in and said, you know what? Wow, this is your first hunt. This is what you're trying to do, and we want to help you. No?
No, it was
Okay.
more the learn by watching.
Okay, got you.
And it wasn't just the open arms, come on into our clan. And I think hunting's that way.
Yeah.
It can be pretty exclusive.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to earn my spot at camp.
Yes.
And so then you're like, oh, do I tell them about my mistakes or do I let it slide? But it was so exciting to me. And I was like, okay, so now I've learned. I'm gonna, oh yeah, you got to flip that thing up.
But what I think is so beautiful about what you say is that you saw that you probably wanted people to bring you in. And that's why I think, like, when we get to that story of the origin story of Venery and what you wanted for this organization, I think at these moments like that where you're like, this is my first freaking experience of being out in the woods, and I prepared for this, and I want to talk about what I've learned and what I need to do differently, and I want input, and I want people to embrace what I'm doing. And that's really interesting. But you're right, you do have to earn it. You have to earn the place, the table to talk about your story or whatnot. Back then, I'm assuming I've seen some evolution even in my family with my kids and my daughter, who is a pretty skilled bow hunter. And just because she's just, I think naturally, you can see some people that really have to work at it. She just weirdly enough gets in there. And I don't know if it's because of playing softball. She's zoned in and she knows where the target is and can usually get close to it whereas my boys, they have to work at it a little bit. My one boy is he has to practice a little bit longer and a little bit more. But that's really cool, Alex. I like to hear those kind of stories. They're real, and I bet you have more of those in your women's groups when you guys go out and do the elk hunts and things like that. I can see you being a facilitator to get more information out. Do you do that?
I think storytelling's a huge piece of the hunting heritage.
Yeah.
Because it is coming back and telling those stories and telling the experiences. And social media has glorified it a bit on the harvest side. Like, it's all about the harvest.
Yeah.
It's not usually.
No.
It's more about the trials and tribulations, the one that got away, the forgetting a gun strap or something to that effect. But then also when you sit down at the table and share the meal, the story of all the work that went into it, preceding it, all the uphill battles.
Right.
And some downhill and getting it out of the woods.
Yes.
And all those pieces and parts goes into that meal that you then share with your loved ones.
I love it. This is a side note, but did you ever watch the television series based out of Alaska and I followed this, where all these different people surviving Alaska, but also hunting excursions that they did while living there and living very remotely. And at the very end, my husband and I tapped into this episode where they all went out and brought something back to the community meal, which I think was super beautiful, but they had to tell the story behind how they went and hunted for the protein or the elk, or how they harvested they got the fish for one part of the meal, or even I remember there was a dessert and what they needed to do to get certain types of where they needed to hike up to get the berries or whatnot for the meal. Did you ever see that? Oh my gosh, that whole thing. It just brought back to community and family working together to provide for one another. You're right. The storytelling is super important with all of this. Okay, you've got a taste for the hunt.
Yes.
Okay, did you end up going on solo hunts, or what did you do after that?
No, it was all centered around the boyfriend and this hunting camp and being a part of that.
Right.
And being invited into that space, even if it was like, yeah, you're here, you got to earn your stripes and be a part of it. And I mean, there's some rituals at camp, first harvests and things like that, and being part of it. And I think I earned a little street cred with them because I knew how to field dress an animal, wasn't squeamish about it. Like, that's science. Yeah. So just tagging back into biology, environmental science, that's science of the animals, of the body system of dissecting. Like you called it dissection. Everybody else calls it field dressing. And but for me, it's dissection.
Yeah.
It's really looking and seeing the different parts of an animal. And how your body works. Like holding a heart in your hand.
Pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
Yes.
And feeling it and knowing that this was part of a living animal, but it's also a muscle and food and sustenance.
Yes.
And just making those connections. So I think that being a part of that camp and having had those prior experiences helped me adjust into that space.
Yes, absolutely.
But I never, but it was always with the boyfriend.
With the boyfriend. They never said, hey, Alex, let's come with us and you're going to go with us on an adventure. No, bummer. Okay, gotcha. So then I want to know, okay, so you had those moments. You were in Florida and you came up to Montana. Now you're here. You're big game.
Minnesota,
we got Minnesota and then to Montana. We're going to go there.
Yeah.
So you get to Montana. Now I'm assuming at this point, were you with your husband?
Not the first time.
Not the first time. Okay. But you then started getting your foot settling here and figuring out in Missoula, you were working in retail, right?
Yep.
So then I want to learn about the origin of Venery. And I want to hear your family story and meeting your husband. And I do feel like we need to have another episode. There's so much to dive into, just even from the hunting standpoint. You need to have your own freaking show.
We're complex beings, right?
I know.
And there are so many pieces and parts that make us who we are.
Exactly.
It's not just one instance.
No.
And we'll jump forward.
Yeah, let's just jump forward because I want to get into it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I'll say moving to Missoula was my third time back in Missoula.
Got you. Okay.
So moved to Missoula with my husband 20 years ago and wasn't really thinking about hunting. Had definitely not departed ways with it, but life had taken a different path.
Yeah, for sure.
Started a family, had been working a different job, and moving to Missoula the final time, I was working, having my children, and just having
life. It's life.
Just life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then a few years into it, I was like, oh, we are finally in Montana. I'm a resident. Being a resident of Montana is a big thing.
It's a big thing.
For hunting licenses.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you're right.
It saves you a lot of money.
Yeah.
To be a resident and opens up a lot of opportunity. So I was continuing to have conversations with people about hunting because there's still that interest. And my husband comes from a hunting family and he's got that background. He hunted a lot with his dad. And so we continued to have some of that exposure. So I would talk to friends and mainly guy friends. And of course, it's male dominated.
Right.
And so I'm having these conversations. I'm like, I want to go hunting. I want to go out and do this.
Yeah.
And I don't know where to go.
Right.
I don't know the process.
Right.
And I'm waiting for that invitation.
Yes.
Because that's what I thought I needed.
Right.
I needed an invitation from somebody that already did it to take me to camp, to show me the ropes. So finally, after a lot of nudging, and come on.
Yeah.
You can take me. I'll be good. I know what I'm doing. I've done it before.
Yes.
Finally, I got a friend of mine he actually called me up. He's like, okay, I hear you have a cabin. Yes, I do have a cabin. He's like, this weekend, we planned this guy's trip. It's supposed to be really crappy weather. We were going to camp. How about we all go up to your cabin?
Okay.
And I was like, okay. Tell me more.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll use it as home base and we'll go out hunting from there. And of course you can be there. Like you can join along.
Of course you can be there.
Of course you can be there. I'm like, it is my cabin.
Yeah, exactly.
And little light bulbs were starting to go off. I'm like, my cabin? You mean where we can go to my cabin and do this? I'm like, wait a minute. I never thought of that.
Yes.
And so we all went. So it was myself and 3 other men staying at the cabin. And we went out. And they went their way. I went my way. And I ended up harvesting my first Montana deer.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then it clicked. And then I was like, I didn't need them to invite me.
No.
This was my place, my time, I did all the things.
Yeah.
So I was in the woods. I shot the deer. I field dressed the deer. I drug it back to the cabin.
You drug it back?
And we all met up later and we had dinner.
You did that all by yourself? You field dress it and hauled it back by yourself. That's crazy. That's amazing. Because I don't know of too many people that do that by themselves as far as women go, but that's a common thing.
Not a common thing.
Yeah.
And I would prefer to hunt in a group. I would prefer to have a hunting partner.
Yeah.
I like the camaraderie.
Yes.
But I think it is common to sit like I did back in Florida, that first hunt, where you sit by yourself.
Okay.
And your friends are in the woods with you in different places.
Yeah. And you can call on them on the radio and say,
walkie-talkie.
hey, I need help. Or can you come help
Deer
me with
down.
this? Deer down. Or let's go track it. Let's blood track it together or whatnot. Wow. That's amazing. And to give yourself permission that I can do this. I don't need anybody. I can go out there and do this myself.
Right.
Which is pretty epic.
I have so a lot of people talk about access. I have the access. I have property.
Yep.
I have the knowledge and I have the skills and I've worked on the skills.
Yes, absolutely. And it is important too for Montana, for people listening. It is great to know somebody that has property,
It is.
but you can go hunt on some of these BLMs, isn't it?
Block management areas.
Yes.
We have tons of public land.
Public land.
That have access. Yeah. BLM, Forest Service, block management. But there's lots of access opportunities out
Absolutely.
there for the public land hunter.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to know let's talk a little bit about some of the ethics in what we've covered a bit, but just like ethical hunting. What does that even mean to you?
When I teach my hunter safety classes, we talk about this.
Okay.
In that it's the most ethical shot you can take, or the quick, clean, it's not going to be painless, but quick, clean death. So you want your skills and abilities to be that, and that it's okay to not take a shot as much as it is to take the shot. So you have permission to not take a shot.
Right.
So that's part of it. The ethics of harvesting animals in the conservation space and maintaining populations of animals. So we've removed the predators from the landscape. For the most part, we're starting to reintroduce them. And I think we're seeking that balance between predators and prey. Right. But we also need to look at that. I love deer. They're fascinating creatures.
Oh, yeah.
They're beautiful.
Yes.
There's just a connection to them as when I watch does with their fawns in the springtime and see them mothering, right? Yeah. There's a human connection there. But what I don't want them to do is suffer. And so if the population becomes too large, it's going to suffer because they're going to compete for food. There's going to be a harsh winter.
Yeah.
There's going to be times when resources can't sustain the population that's there.
Right.
And so moving into thinking about conservation of those animals and those species, tying back in my environmental science background and that balance, bringing that to the forefront. And then ethically harvesting, so following the rules and regulations.
Yes.
And then that choice. So we talk about ethics is making the right choice even when no one's watching, because you are most of the time in the woods alone.
Yeah.
And making the right choice for you.
Yes.
Is not the right choice. Like the right choice for me is not the right choice for Julie.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I choose to just watch the animals. Sometimes I would choose not to take a doe with a fawn.
Yeah.
If my license permitted.
Right.
I would let them walk.
Yeah.
And wait for something. Sometimes it's harvesting the oldest animal in the herd.
Yeah.
And letting that next generation of genes help to bolster that community.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that has to do with education, knowing what to look for.
Definitely.
And again, tapping into, I think if people are educated and knowing all the systems that are how everything feeds off of one another, just like what we talked about with Diane with wolves, very highly controversial subject matter to dive into, but it's the same thing. Everything impacts one another. And the fact that you go out there and educate people on that is super important, because when they are in the tree stands or they're out there pushing or looking for elk or whatnot, ethic, that little nugget has to come up to the forefront and go, wait a minute, am I assessing everything correctly with all of the education I have? And am I supposed to take this shot? I think it's super important what you're doing. Do you feel it's super important? Because I've heard some stories, and I'm sure you have too, where you're like, that's cringeworthy. Yeah. And it's heartbreaking too. It's a little bit of like, why did you have to do that?
Yeah.
Do you see that sometimes?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And do you then take it upon yourself for an advocacy standpoint of doing more education when you hear that? Or do you share those types of stories? Because I think it's important. I think we need to talk about that.
Yeah. We talk about, I use those opportunities to say, a lot of times it's those, I took a 500, 600 yard shot.
Yeah.
And I would rather not celebrate that. I would rather say, I made it to 20 yards of that animal without them seeing me.
Exactly. That's cool.
Let's celebrate how close we can get
Yeah.
and not glorify how far away.
Yeah. Good point.
And it is a skill, right? Both of them are skills.
Right.
And archery promotes that closeness and that getting close into the shot. And rifle gives you a little bit more flexibility.
Absolutely.
But we don't need to push the limits. What we need to do is push ourselves.
Yes. Ooh, that is so good, Alex. Thank you that is awesome. I'm glad we covered that. And there is a difference in hunting styles for men and women. They're a different way. I've seen both. Both. But I just love what you just said. It's refining our skills, getting closer. You're right. You do hear people, I shot that 500 yards away. And I'm like, with a rifle?
Yeah, I didn't even know you were there.
And a brand new scope. I'm like, okay. So I do see the differences in what women talk about versus men. My daughter, she'll talk about, I was like super close. I knew exactly where to point it at to kill. I'm trying to think of the point that they usually aim for. Is it lung point? Not lung point.
Heart and lungs.
Heart and lung point. Yeah, right there.
The vitals.
The vital area. And I'm like, when you even like going down to blood tracking and like what we do when we find the animal and all the things. So she's such a great little co-host. My dog's stretching and everything right now. But yeah, it is. Yeah, I love all that. And I'm glad that you stress some of those pieces because I think it's super important. It's super important.
Definitely. So, skills and abilities over taking chances.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Transitioning into origin story of Venery. Can you talk to me about how it all came about?
Living in Missoula and finally had this hunt of my own and started talking to some mom friends about, oh yeah, we had venison last night for dinner. And they're like, how'd you get the venison? And it's fairly common in Missoula for a lot of people to hunt.
Right.
We're in the Mountain West.
Yeah.
And so I said, I shot it. I hunted. And I was a little hesitant. I'm like, how are these moms going to react to me doing it? And they were fascinating. They're like, we can do that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, of course you can.
Okay.
And a friend in particular, her name's Maggie, was like, okay, I want to do this. I didn't grow up doing it. I want to learn.
Okay.
Take me out with you.
Okay.
And she again said, I don't know if I can kill an animal. I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to be there to see what it's all about.
Yes.
And so we call that green hunting.
Okay.
So she's accompanying me. I'm hunting. I'm carrying the firearm. I have the license, and she's just with me for the ride.
Okay.
Similar to what you would mentor a kid, right? They're not old enough to do it.
Right.
She's a full-grown adult.
Yes.
So we go up to the cabin, and we go out into the woods, and we sit, and we wait, and we sit, and we wait.
Uh-huh.
And that's whitetail hunting, right? Is a lot of sitting and waiting. And what she relays to me later, so we saw some animals, we saw some deer come through. Of course, we need to wait for a buck. Buck didn't come through, but we had a lovely day sitting in the woods.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
And that's more often than not what happens.
Of course.
You don't see massive buck walk through.
I know. That's like the dream. Yeah.
But a few things that she relayed to me afterwards. She was like, one, these wild deer are so much different than our city deer. They behave differently.
Oh.
They're very skittish and reactive to the slightest move or sound versus the Missoula deer, and I think probably even your whitefish deer, right? You've got neighborhood deer.
Yes, we have neighborhood deer.
And that you could probably feed them with your hands, although you're not supposed to.
No, gosh.
No feeding deer.
Yes.
But she was like, no wonder it's so hard.
Yeah.
They act so differently. They're so much more reactive to their surroundings.
Right.
They're not comfortable with humans.
Right.
And so it lit a light bulb for her. She's, oh, this is why you don't always come home with an animal.
Right.
And then the other piece she said as a woman and as a mom was that it was a gift to sit peacefully and quietly in the woods, not have anyone vying for her attention, and not having to be on call. And just that peaceful
You can
serenity.
breathe. Yeah, I love that you gave her that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And then, so that specific moment, you knew you needed to do something.
I knew it
Something
was,
beautiful
I
needed
knew
to
it was a
come.
gift. I knew
Yeah.
it was a gift. It was a gift to her, and it was a gift to me to share that with her. And so we continued to talk about it. And she said, I'm still not sure I could ever kill an animal. I'm like, that's fair. But she said, you know what? Other women need this experience.
That's awesome.
And
That's true.
that is when we started planning out Venery.
Yes. And okay, I want to know Venery. Tell me, what is the meaning behind that?
So the word Venery means the art, lore, and sport of hunting.
Okay.
There's also a phrase called terms of Venery. And so when I say, Julie, what is a term of Venery for geese? You would say it's a gaggle of geese.
A gaggle. Yes.
Yes, a gaggle of geese.
I love going over those fun little terms.
Right.
Yes.
They are fun. But terms of Venery describe that collective noun of animals.
Yeah.
Herd of elk, gaggle of geese, parliament of owls. I have a whole slew of them.
I love that. Oh, Parliament owls. I love that. Right. That's cool.
A murder of crows,
A,
right?
A murder of crows. I've never heard of that one.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
There's some fun ones.
Yes. I love that. And I think it's a really unique brand name. It's really cool.
I wanted something that related to hunting, but had a feminine feel to it.
Yes.
And I even worked in developing my logo. I worked with an artist, and we went back and forth, of course, with designs and things like that. And I want something like bold and powerful and brave.
Yeah.
And soft and gentle.
Yeah.
And feminine. And she said, that doesn't exist. I'm like, it does. We're going to find it.
We're going to figure that out. And isn't it, it's like it's the name, and then it has like, is it antlers that come across?
It's like a chest mount. It's the chest.
It's the chest.
The
yeah.
head and the antlers.
Yes. It's beautiful. For people that are listening to go check it out, it's Venery. It's spelled VENERY.com.
Venery, VENERYMT.
MT.com.
.com.
Okay, yeah. So you guys need to go check it out. But the story is pretty epic. And so then as you evolved this organization, was it starting out with education, or was it, I want to get people together and I want to go do a hunt?
It started out as hunting.
Hunting.
So just putting together a women's deer camp.
Okay.
And we started out just inviting a few mom friends. Like,
right.
Let's go. Let's go do this. And then discovering just because you've had a hunter's education doesn't necessarily mean you know how to hunt.
Right.
And providing that mentorship and that community support is what grew out of those first days of deer camp.
Because you had women coming that had said they hunted before, or maybe had a hunting license, but had never gone. And so they were looking for, this is a group that maybe can help me, because I really don't have anybody to go with. Was that kind of what you were finding, or were there people coming going, I've never done this before, I want to do this?
It was mom friends.
Mom friends.
Had hunting licenses, had maybe shot some.
Okay.
But hadn't gone hunting.
Yeah.
Hadn't taken that next step.
Yeah.
And wanted to for doing it with your family, just like
Right.
skiing, right? There's these sports that do invite you to do it as a family.
Right.
And hunting can be one of them.
Right.
But the moms were just not getting that exposure, the skills, and wanted to learn in a safe place.
Yeah, I love that. So when did it start? It was 8 years ago when you guys started.
Yep.
And then, so the first year basically was figuring things out and seeing the need and then having these annual hunts. So I'm assuming in the October, September deer hunt, do you do an annual hunt for deer specifically?
We do. We continue to this day to have our annual deer camp.
Okay.
It's usually the first week in November
Okay.
because that follows the deer season.
The rut season.
The
yeah.
rut,
Which
right.
is right around my birthday. It's always right on my birthday. Okay, so you do your annual camp, and so women can come. What do they experience? What are some of the things that you have found over the last 8 years that they express? What do they get out of it?
Oh my goodness, so much.
So much. And how many days is it?
It's a 4-day deer camp
4-day deer camp in Montana,
in Montana.
outside of Missoula.
We've had the deer camp in a variety of different areas.
Okay, gotcha.
So the Sealy Lake area is where the original camp was.
Yeah,
And then
it's beautiful.
we've had, stunning
Stunning.
area. It's river based, right?
Right.
Whitetail are down by the river. The Swan River runs
Yeah.
through there.
And you probably see moose.
Don't often see moose.
Oh, you
Sometimes
don't?
Sometimes we see elk.
Oh, elk for sure. Yeah.
But also definitely grizzly bear.
Oh, for sure.
So
Oh, yeah.
got to be bear aware.
It's a pretty epic spot for all things. I mean, you've got trout fishing and it's a beautiful spot to have that.
Crown of the continent.
Crown of the continent for sure. That's super cool. So that's an annual thing in November.
The original deer camp happened there.
Okay.
Then we moved and did the Great Falls area.
Oh, yeah.
Brady Great Falls.
Okay. Kind of
rural
familiar.
Farm.
Yeah.
So those hunts were a little bit different. And then finally we have branched out and we're in Big Timber now.
Oh.
And we work with a private landowner and ranch out in the Big Timber area to host our deer camp.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you do deer camp and then you also do elk camp.
So our elk clinic isn't a hunting camp.
It's not. Okay.
It's a skills camp.
Okay.
And so it's learning those skills and abilities without the pressure of the hunt.
Right.
We do a scavenger mock hunt towards the end of all our education building.
Oh, I love that, Alex.
Yeah.
It's amazing. With Venery, so it's a lot of education. You're actually getting out there and you're learning. What are I'm assuming all skill sets are welcome, right? Even the skilled hunter can come and join this amazing group. And then do you do online education at all?
We are branching into online education. We do have an online turkey clinic. And we're going to use the virtual platform to educate more women about turkey hunting. But it's a hybrid course. So there's always that hands-on experiential learning. And so we're partnering the virtual learning with range days so that you can come and pattern your shotgun. You can learn about the chokes, all the pieces and parts and skills, and have that opportunity to shoot firearms.
Okay, gotcha. So are you primarily focusing on deer, elk? Do you do bear?
We haven't branched into bear. It's not really a beginner sport.
Yeah, I can see that.
I have had some requests.
Okay.
And we may, I don't know, the wheels are turning a little bit about how else to be a resource for our community is to have maybe monthly phone call conversations where people can zoom in, we'll pick a topic and cover that topic, do a Q&A and be a resource for women.
Oh my gosh. You're going to be doing that?
Putting together some of the pieces.
Oh, I want to know everything. I'm like, the fact that first and foremost, people are listening. She's a woman-owned business, 8 years, developing large network of women, pretty much bringing women hunters on the map here. It's pretty epic in what you're building across the state of Montana. You have all these different events. You're bringing an online resource type product, essentially. What else are you going to be doing?
So the last piece of the puzzle, we do a rifle course. We do our deer camp to rifle skills, build the skills for deer camp. In the springtime, we do the shotgun skills and turkey for that, and archery.
Okay.
So branching a little bit more into archery. And archery is definitely a skill that takes more time, as we discussed.
Yeah.
And so this year, we're doing women's archery socials in Missoula.
Oh.
Monday nights, May through September. And we're starting to do that on an annual basis.
Wonderful.
So you can find out details.
And where do they go to find that out again?
Through the website.
Okay, so can you say that one more time?
Venery, VENERYMT.com.
Perfect.
Is where our events and courses camps are listed.
Okay.
And what I want to develop with that. So we have these archery socials where you're learning more skills and abilities. You're getting comfortable at the archery range.
Yeah.
And then I want to take that into the next step of doing a women's archery hunt.
Oh, I love that.
And giving them the opportunity to put their skills to use in the field.
Oh, beautiful. You have such a really cool community. It's such an important piece to all this, not just the storytelling and all the skill, but just the community and leaning in one another. What do you think makes this so special? Like the community that you've built out?
I think women need the community support.
Yeah.
And being welcoming, as you said, all skill levels are welcome here. So the beginners, someone who's never done it, someone who's afraid of it, to our mentors on the other side who are really thriving by engaging other women. And it's the journey of a hunter too. They talk about this in Hunter's Ed, which I think is fascinating. I was like, oh, this is not real when I first read it. But the journey of a hunter is that beginner, and you go after your harvest, you go after your deer, and you're just so excited. Like you're not selective. It's like the first thing you want to shoot. And then you become more selective. And then as you mature on your hunting journey, you become interested in mentoring other people, like in sharing that passion and bringing more women into the fold. I have one instructor who, after each and every class, camp, her quote is, "My battery's empty, but my cup is full." Oh. And that is what we bring to this experience. You may be exhausted because you're getting up early, you're staying out late, your awareness and focus in the field is exhausting, and just all the pieces that go into it. But then that community support, that celebration, that is so overwhelming. It's like a warm hug.
I love that.
And that community that comes together to provide this, it's not just the mentors that are doing this in our culture, but it's the participants, and we're all happy for each other.
Amazing. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
That's what camp's like.
I want to go. And I'm not even really a hunter, but I'm like, I just want to be a part of that. That's magical. That's core memories. It's what we want out of our lives. At the end, it's okay. I can tell all these beautiful stories and all the people that were right beside me. That you're creating that for those people. What a legacy. Do you know that about yourself? Do you feel that way?
Not always.
No.
I have to remind myself that I am changing the narrative for these women in the hunting space.
Yes.
From that male-dominated space to be welcoming and inviting and giving them a place to be.
Yeah. With intentionality.
Yes.
Massive intention. I love. Thank you so much. What a beautiful thing for our state that you've created.
You're welcome.
Yes.
My pleasure.
I love it. Okay, we're going to go into our last question. So give me a sec. I got to get my glasses on because I'm very blind. Okay, our first question is, looking at where you started and the work you're doing now, which kind of is what we touched a bit upon. What belief about women, conservation, or leadership do you have to unlearn in order to step fully into this role?
What did I need to unlearn? I think I'm still working on this, but it's the desire to have it all put together first, right? That not perfectionism, but togetherness. And I'm learning how to embrace my humanity in being a little disorganized.
I hear you. I know. It's hard.
Yeah.
When you want it all to come together. That's applicable to any part of life and business. Yeah, that's really an important piece.
And I think with my kids, even more so now, they're showing me that being raw, not being so refined and polished and put together, is more relatable.
Yeah, for sure.
And just not having it all so perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. We want that authentic. Montanans can sniff that out. It's really, but that's so true though. And then you can be yourself. You can let that guard down. You can just breathe a little bit deeper, and people want to see that anyway.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Our last question before we do our pass the mic. This is a fun question. Would you rather step into the perfect first light hunting moment, everything quiet and aligned, or into the day around a campfire with a group of women swapping stories about the shots they didn't take?
I alluded to this early on, but that campfire, hearing just about all the experiences. So it's not just about being in the woods. It's about all the things that you see while you're out there. So I may be hunting deer, but guess what's going to cross my path? It's going to be turkey. It's going to be, of course, the annoying little squirrels. It's a chance encounter with a mountain lion and or a bear, right? So it's all the different experiences from that glistening spider web and those moments that you hear around the campfire of aha moments of, I connected with myself. I let my mind finally ease into peacefulness and bathed in the forest are really what it's about.
Oh, I can listen to you all day. I love that. That's amazing. Okay, Alex, we're down to our last question. Is a special segment in our podcast called Pass the Mic. Before we pass the mic, we want to pause and recognize the businesses that make this space possible. Pass the Mic sponsorship on the IWD406 podcast is more than advertising. It's a commitment to Montana women supporting Montana women. As a Pass the Mic sponsor, we create a custom audio commercial for your brand, giving you triple exposure on the podcast, across our digital platforms, and on YouTube, all as evergreen content that lives long beyond a single episode. Right now, businesses can receive 12 podcast episodes for the price of one. If you believe in honoring Montana women's history, amplifying their stories, and supporting a platform that truly invests back into the community, we love to work with you. Contact IWD406 today at www.iwd406.com. And now, let's pass the mic. We believe in amplifying the voices of remarkable women. If you could pass the mic to a Montana woman to share their story on the IWD406 podcast, who would she be and why?
There are so many incredible women in my life from my community. I would pass the mic to Jessie Thomas. She runs Sustainable Wellness. She is about nutrition and wellness and embracing our own body's ability to heal ourselves through exercise, diet, food, real food. And yeah, she's just a beautiful,
I love that.
beautiful person.
Oh, I love that. And you know what? It's such more and more as you see on the news and all the things that you see on Instagram and all over social media. I'm glad we're finally talking about those things because I think for women, we've really struggled. We're at the top of autoimmune diseases and illnesses. And it is important what you just mentioned about having real food. You're going out and harvesting real food. And it's so important for us to go back to that. Processed foods are not working for us. All the things that we're putting in our foods is not working for us. So to have that conversation with her is super important. So thank you so much. And I can't wait to meet her.
I'm excited for you to
Yes.
speak with her. She is a delight and so energetic as a human out there trying to spread the good news
Yeah.
about real food, how simple it is to make, to eat, and to nourish ourselves holistically.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alex. I'm so honored and grateful that you were willing to make the trek up here, and what you're doing, it's legendary. It hasn't been done. And you're creating something that's so unique to Montana. It's a gift for what you're giving all of us. So thank you so much for all that you do and all the work that you're putting into this and building for our beautiful state and for the women that love and adore being out and hunting and really appreciating what we have in our backyard.
Definitely. There's a lot of nature out there to see and explore and appreciate. And our public lands are such a huge piece of who Montana is, right? Montana as a people. Public lands are at the heart of that. And
Absolutely.
It's definitely a way to tap into that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
A special thank you to our podcast guest. You can find all of her links in the description of this episode. If you like what you heard, please hit subscribe. You will be notified of future podcast guests. Follow us on our social media platforms and stay tuned for our next podcast chat with an amazing Montana woman.